Happy Friday. This is my quick 10-minute yoga for office stress. I did a version of this 2 weeks ago and this is 2.0. Just basically a couple of quick, 5 yoga moves that can really help reduce the stress and tension of sitting at a desk, the pressure of an office environment, in fact any stressful work environment. So, happy Friday. So as always, try and start tuning into the breath. We're just going to use a chair. Make sure there's a chair that's stable, not a rolly office chair. Maybe just lock it in. So you can use a chair or you can do this standing up or on the ground, but most of us don't want to lie down at work. So we're just going to start by breathing in and really centering our weight on our feet, grounding into the earth here. Noticing the four corners of the feet, maybe taking a moment to check if your weight is balanced on one or the other. Lengthening the spine, tucking the chin just a little, rolling the shoulders back, couple of breaths. So do that a few times. We're going to do a palm tree pose here. So we're basically inhaling, the arms come up, and grab your wrist, and we're just going to pull it up for height here. So keeping that sort of groundedness in your feet, we're going to pull the arm up and just bend over to stretch out your side body. Beautiful stretch to open up the lungs and the ribs. So we're looking for height here, not necessarily depth. Height, and breathe into your body, releasing tension. And coming back up. And swapping, lifting that wrist up and then bending over. Breathing in, feeling that lovely opening, spaciousness in the side. Couple of breaths. That should feel great. Arms come down, beautiful, lovely. So using your chair here, or you can sit on the floor if you really need to, but chairs are always good because they're always in the office. So sitting on the edge of our chair here, feet grounded, knees hip width apart, we're just going to do a bit of a spinal twist. So one hand on one knee, I'm going to reach around, sort of support your spine, keeping the spine long, twisting around, looking over your shoulder, and exhale the tension from your spine. Couple of breaths there, beautiful. Keeping the knees and the hips square. And then look to the front before you untwist and we go the other way. So one hand to the knee, keeping that stability. Maybe a hand supporting your spine to stay long. And twisting, looking over the shoulder. Exhaling tension. And look to the front before you untwist. So you can do that a couple of times, get rid of all the tension of the week and the stress that's piled up and letting it go. So that's our spinal twist. Next we're going to do a little hybrid cat-cow, sort of like an up dog to mountain pose, actually not cat-cow. So up dog, as you might know, we do on the floor, but you can do it on a chair too. So basically, again, feet hip width apart and hands go on the chair here. We're going to go into downward facing dog so that you can feel your hamstrings and your hips. We're looking for height in the hips here and then opening up the shoulder blades. So it's like a lovely downward facing dog but with the chair for support. Breathe here for a couple of breaths. And then when you feel right, you can go forwards into your up dog. So it's basically like an arch in the back, open the chest, shoulders away from the ears. That should feel like a nice inversion here, but using your chair for support. And then you can go back into downward dog, and forward. You could even do a little flow. Or you can hold the position if that just feels really nice. And of course moving with your breath. So from the chair, and you can do this using a wall or a chair, flamingo pose to stretch out and get some space in our quads. We're just going to put your weight into one leg, get a little bit of support here, but don't lean over anything, get nice and stable. We're going to lift up that ankle, we're going to pull that down to the ground, and maybe even just tilt the pelvis a little bit to deepen the stretch. So inhale, exhale to stretch. And if you feel nice and stable here, you can lift the opposite arm to leg, so it almost becomes a balance. Beautiful, flamingo pose. And then placing that down, and then we'll go the other way. So ankle, arm can come up once you find your stability. Little twist in the pelvis will deepen the stretch here. And making sure you micro bend the straight knee so that you don't lock it out. So that should feel really nice. So do that a few times. And we're going to do two more. We can use a lunge because our hip flexors get very tight sitting down all day. So the lunge can just be done here on the ground. So the back heel is up. And it can go forward like this, and it should feel like if we lean back, the hips sort of open up here. Or if you want the support of the chair, one leg goes up, and then you sort of slide that leg back a little, and you can get a nice arch in the back, hips open up. Yeah, that feels good. And then of course you go the other way. Find that sweet spot. If you feel like you have more stability with the back foot down rather than the heel lifted, do what feels right for you. But the aim is to have your hips square. So that should feel really good, just with a little arch. And if you feel nice and stable, you can even lift your arms for a bit of extra technical work. Exhale. And stepping the feet up together. Couple of lunges. And finally, we can do a child's pose to complete the office stress 2.0. And we can just do it on the chair as well. So knees can come wide, sitting on the chair, and we're just going to collapse down. And it should feel like we're almost opening up the hips a little bit, just letting gravity take its toll. Let the neck hang loose, head hangs down. Now I recommend you stay in that position for a good 5 to 10 breaths if you like, and that really will, we hold a lot of emotional stress in our hips, so that'll just let go of the week and create a beautiful start to your weekend. Hope that helps.